Welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Sean Anderson for Ponca City Public Schools. And on this edition of Coach's Corner, the head coach of the Pohai wrestling team, Coach Justin Roland, is our special guest. And Coach Roland, thank you for being on with us.
No problem, man. It's good to be on again.
Well, the wrestlers, of course, recently competed in state. That was individual wrestlers. Tell us, how did it go?
It went pretty good. We had a top 10 finish as a team, which is pretty good improvement on last year. Our 106 pounder, Chris Kaiser, ended up coming out with third place, and it is a real good performance from him. The only two kids to finish above him, one's going to OU, and the other one's the head coach at OSU son, Sam Smith, but it's funny because every other kid at 106 in that tournament he had beat, so it was a real strong performance from him being a freshman. Then you had Gabe Roland at 170, making the finals, finishing runner up and wrestled real tough. Kind of let the finals match get away from him a little bit, but I mean, just good performances to build on for next year. And also Cam Jackson was a match away from placing. Cam had a good tournament, up and down year. He didn't get to practice a whole lot, actually got COVID. So for him to even come close was pretty dang good. Same with Preston Lee. He wrestled really tough. I think he is a match away from placing, and probably had to weight a little heavy. Probably wanted to see Preston at 120 this year, but with all the circumstances how they were, it was good to see him get out there and perform well. And Riker Agee, he wrestled a pigtail match to get into the tournament and beat a kid he's never beat before, and then wrestled two really strong matches to finish the tournament. Came out on the wrong end of it score-wise, but strong performances, and like I told you, I just wanted to see him go wrestle hard, and I thought they did.
So things went very well in Oklahoma City at the fairgrounds for the state wrestling tournament. And now this weekend is a big weekend, dual state. That's happening. And it's happening Saturday in Enid. So it's a shorter drive over there at the event center in Enid. And Coach Roland, tell us about, how does dual state work? How it's you keep winning or you go home, right?
So you got basically it's like the NCAA basketball tournament. You win and you advance, and the district champions from whichever district you came out of, kind of they rank you, which is kind of tough for us. I think we ended up being ranked as the seventh seed, and I think if we get a full season, and we're probably in the top 5 or top 4. So, but it's a good experience. Go over there, wrestle at 9:30. We'll wrestle Bixby if we win that. Move on to the semis, probably wrestle Broken Arrow, and then if you win that one, you wrestle at 1. And it's just a good experience. It's a payoff for the whole team. The whole team kind of gets to benefit from wrestling well all year at Dual State. We'll take a couple extra kids. On a normal year we would juggle because we got a decently deep team, and we would kind of juggle some weights. It gives you an opportunity to maybe see some kids you haven't seen in it before, and it's just a good experience.
Right. Here we are going into dual state, and your team has some team leaders. They're showing up on the practice mat. They're leading during the duels. Can you give a shout out to some of those? And they're not only leading on the mat, but they're also leading in the classroom. Can you give a shout out to some of those wrestlers and athletes on your team?
Absolutely. The lighter weights, when I'd say from 106 to 120, Chris Kaiser's really taking that role. He comes in there every day and scraps hard. He doesn't like to lose. He doesn't like to give up takedowns. So his presence in the room at that weight and the competition at that weight and those weights is really carried by him. I think Preston Lee, is one of those kids that just comes in there and works hard every day. Really tough, really disciplined kid. Throw Riker Agee in there with him. He's coming along I think early in the year, Riker was fighting it a little bit, but now that we've gotten the groove of it a little bit more, got a couple weeks strung together, he's really coming into what he can be as a wrestler. Blake Bristol, I talked about him academically. Academically, he sets the bar high for us. He's a 4.0 guy, really smart kid. He's also starting to come into his own a little bit more. And then you got Cam Jackson in there that brings a lot of athleticism to the group. And then when you get heavy, you got Joe Levitt at 52, Raiden at 60, Gabe at 70, and Landon Newland at 82. And that's as tough as it gets, and probably in any room in the state. Those kids really, the success of Gabe directly comes from Joe, Raiden, and Landon. You kind of see that kind of working together. It didn't go so well at regionals for Joe and Raiden, but still they did their part in helping get kids ready. And then the heavyweights, Tristan Boyer's coming along and being a leader. Thomas Sober's back in the room and he helps, but got a lot of kids in there that work really hard, and I got to give a shout out to a couple eighth graders that have been able to come in the room. Devin Miller, who probably would have been a junior high state champ this year, he got quarantined. He's down at those lower weights. And then Ethan Papans came in and really competed hard towards that 35 to 40 range, and just really good competition and leaders all over the room. And it's a young team, so it's good to see.
For sure. Well, there's a promising future for Pohai wrestling, and we're excited about it. And I know, Coach Roland, you're excited about it as well. And we look forward to speaking again on Coach's Corner. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thank you. If I could, if you don't mind, I'd like to give a shout out to the Red Lee family. We lost the state champ and a really, really big family name in the Ponca City wrestling community. Reno Redley passed away, and just want to give our condolences from Ponca City Wrestling and Ponca City Schools to the family. And Reno will always be one of the best kids to come out of this program, and the Redley family being great people and great leaders of this program.
Yeah, very well said. Coach Roland, thank you again, and we'll have you again on Coach's Corner. We appreciate you. And best of luck to the Pohai wrestlers as they head to Dual State this Saturday, this weekend in Enid at the event center over there. And we'll cheer them on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Coach Roland, and that's going to do it for this edition of Coach's Corner for Ponca City Public Schools. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Until next time.